All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful meeting formats out there, the Roundtable. And we're going to build a super practical guide to take you from just an idea all the way to creating some real lasting impact. You've been there, right? You walk out of a meeting and you just think, what was the point of that? Well, a really well-run roundtable is the perfect antidote to that feeling. It's a format that is literally designed for real collaboration, not just talk that goes in circles. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll get clear on what a roundtable actually is, then we'll dig into the blueprint for making it a success, cover the art of facilitating, look at some common pitfalls you'll want to avoid, and finally, and this is the big one, how to turn all that talk into action. So, let's get into it. What really separates a roundtable from any other meeting you might have on your calendar? Well, it really boils down to its structure, and maybe more importantly, its intent. You know, at its heart, a round table is all about equality. That circular table, it's not just for looks. It's a symbol that every single voice in that room matters. The whole point isn't for one person to stand up and present. It's for everyone to jump in and tackle a problem together. And this is where it really clicks. A round table is totally different from a panel, where you're just listening to a few experts. Here, everyone is an expert contributing to the conversation. And it's way more fluid than a seminar. It's meant to be an organic, back-and-forth dialogue, not a stuffy, formal presentation. Okay, so now that we're clear on the what, let's get into the how. And that means planning. Because let me tell you, amazing discussions don't just happen by accident. They are carefully, thoughtfully designed. This 5-step blueprint is basically your secret weapon. First, you have to know your why. What are you trying to achieve? Next, pick a topic that's actually interesting, something people will want to debate. Then, and this is crucial, curate your guest list. You want different viewpoints, because that's what makes the conversation rich. And finally, get an agenda and any materials out ahead of time so people walk in the door ready to hit the ground running. And seriously, do not sleep on the power of a good agenda. Look, it's not about being super rigid or boxing people in. Think of it as your roadmap. It's the set of guardrails that keeps the conversation from veering off into the ditch and makes sure you actually get to where you intended to go. Oh, and this brings us to a classic trap. I call it the wedding list dilemma. It's this idea that more people in the room automatically means a better event. But for a roundtable, it's the opposite. Quality absolutely crushes quantity. Having the right people with different, valuable perspectives is so much better than having a huge, quiet audience. Okay, so all the planning is locked in. Now it's showtime. It's time to actually lead the conversation. And this is where having a great facilitator, a great moderator is just non-negotiable. I mean, think about it. The moderator isn't just a timekeeper. They're the conductor of the orchestra. Without someone guiding the flow, things can get messy fast. Their job is to channel the energy, keep things on track, and make sure the whole discussion stays productive and, respectful. So what does a great facilitator do? Well, they have a whole toolkit. It all starts with active listening, not just waiting to talk, but really hearing what's being said. Then they use strategic questions to take the conversation from surface level to something deeper. They're constantly reading the room, picking up on nonverbal cues, and most importantly, they stay neutral. That impartiality builds trust, and trust is what makes people feel safe enough to share their real thoughts. But hey, even with the best plan and the perfect facilitator, things can still go off the rails. So let's quickly cover 3 super common pitfalls that can totally derail an otherwise great roundtable. First up, the dreaded sales pitch. Ugh, nothing kills the collaborative vibe faster. A roundtable is for sharing knowledge, not for promoting your business. The second someone launches into a pitch, it just feels fake and it's a huge waste of everyone's time. Okay, mistake number 2 is being too strict. Yeah, you need an agenda, but if you cling to it for dear life and only ask yes or no questions, you will completely choke the life out of the conversation. You have to find that sweet spot, that balance between structure and letting the dialogue breathe. And finally, don't forget that the event starts the moment the first person walks in the door. Just saying hello, making a little small talk as people arrive. It sounds simple, but those little things create a warm atmosphere and make people feel like their contribution is valued before you even get to item 1 on the agenda. All right, we've come to what I think is the most critical part. A great discussion cannot just end when people walk out of the room. If that's all that happens, you've kind of missed the whole point. The real magic of a roundtable is in what comes next. This quote just nails it. The conversation isn't the finish line, it's the starting pistol. All those amazing ideas and insights that came up during the discussion, that's the fuel. That's the catalyst for what you're going to do tomorrow. So, how do you make that happen? You need a solid follow-up game. Have someone whose only job is to take great notes. Then send out a summary of the key takeaways to everyone. But here's the most important step. Define crystal clear action items. Who's doing what and by when? That's how you turn ideas into a real plan and keep the momentum going. And don't stop there. You can squeeze so much more value out of this. That conversation is a content goldmine. Turn the best parts into a blog post. Chop up some short video clips for social media. Use the key insights in your next newsletter. This not only reinforces the value for the people who were there, but it shares that knowledge with the whole world. Which brings us right back to where we started, impact. After all the planning, the talking, and the follow-up, a great roundtable hands you a roadmap. So the only question left is the one for you. Now that the conversation is over, what change are you going to create?